Hi everyone, this episode of Lawrence Academy Screencast is going to focus on teaching you how to use the Pythagorean Theorem. Alright, so in front of us we have a diagram of a right triangle. One key to keep in mind is that the Pythagorean Theorem only works with right triangles, and we know it's a right triangle because it has that little box in the corner. That means that's a 90-degree angle. If a triangle has a 90-degree angle, it is a right triangle. You'll also notice that the sides of this triangle are labeled with letters. We have A and B, and A and B are the two legs. That just means they're the two shorter sides of this right triangle. The last side we see here is C. Notice a couple things about that. It's the longest side, and it's always opposite the right triangle. So C, we call that the hypotenuse. And that's a special side. Like I said, it's always the longest side of a triangle. What the Pythagorean theorem actually states is this: a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And this can help us in a couple ways. It can tell us whether a triangle is in fact a right triangle, because this statement must always be true. And it can also help us find the missing side of a right triangle when you know the other two. Okay, so let's look at some examples together. Here's our first example. We see a right triangle in front of us, and the question asks us, what is the length of the hypotenuse? Well, C is the hypotenuse, it's the longest side. A and B are actually interchangeable, but let's just call this one A and this side B. So let's set up our Pythagorean theorem. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, now let's plug in values. We said A was 9, so 9 squared plus 12 squared, because that was the value of B, equals C squared. Here we just have to do a little algebra and solve our equation for C. So 9 squared is 81, 12 squared is 144, equals C squared. Then we need to combine like terms. 81 plus 144 is 225. Carry down the C squared. From here we want to continue to get the C alone, so the inverse operation to C squared is the square root of that, so we'll square root both sides. The square root of 225 is 15, and the square root of C squared is just C. So that's our solution, and the hypotenuse is 15 feet long. Here's another example for us to look at, and notice that now we're given the hypotenuse and one of the legs, and we're told to find A. Okay, so let's set up our Pythagorean theorem. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And again, we're given the value of C, so let's plug that in. So that's 5 squared. We'll call this guy B, and we'll plug in 3 for the value of B. And then A is just going to stay A. And then again, we just need to start doing a little arithmetic here and solve the equation for A. So A squared stays A squared. 3 squared is 9. And 5 squared is 25. Just got to do a little bit more algebra here to get A by itself. We'll subtract 9 from both sides. And from that we'll get A squared, because these cancel, equals 16. And then again, we need to square root both sides, and we get A equals 4. And that's our solution for the missing leg. Here's one final example. I want you to try this one on your own. Use your guided notes to show your work, and I'll see you tomorrow in class. Good luck.